next one is my antique armoire. This one was a huge investment. I will say it is a piece that I have been searching for a long time. It has to be one of my best marketplace purchases, I think. Price point, it was around $700, I believe. So it was quite a purchase for me personally, something that I had to give a little bit of thought to. But again, where I live, we do not come by these pieces often. It is a dream piece of mine. And I just thought, you know, if I was paying for it in an antique store or had something like that shipped here, it would cost a lot more. The quality of it is amazing. The colors of it are so beautiful. And it's going to be a piece that I'm going to have forever. And I think is one of those pieces that, you know, you pass down throughout a family. Like, it's just one of those things that is going to hold up and last for a long time, I think. So this piece I currently have in my bedroom space, and it holds tons of linens, extra comforters, duvet covers, pillowcases. I probably, again, like many things that I've mentioned before, will move it around in my house, but for now I'm really loving it in the bedroom. And yeah, it was a beautiful piece to incorporate within my space. When searching for it, I think words like antique armoire, antique pine armoire, European inspired furniture, kind of words like that, that kind of will direct you hopefully to styles like that. I personally have not come by another one of those pieces in all my marketplace ventures of trying to source things. It is hard to find where I live, so again, hence why I jumped on it. The next piece that I found, which was also like a once-in-a-lifetime find, I think, was they kind of call it a cogwheel coffee table, I guess is the real name for it, when searching it up. And I think this piece was over $1,000 online regularly, and I got it for, I think it was around $250, which is again a huge score in my opinion. Some people might find it pricey. I'm not sure, but for me personally, finding something that is solid wood, has so much character to it, and kind of looks like a designer piece in my opinion. I thought the price point wasn't too bad. Again, it's solid wood. It's going to hold up for a very long time, and I don't think you can beat that look of being able to achieve so much character and not really having to do anything to the piece. There's totally something to be said about buying a marketplace find and not having to touch it, in my opinion, not having to stain it, to sand it down, to paint it or whatever. It's really nice to just take that piece, give it a wipe, and place it within your home. So if you have to pay a little extra just to be able to do that, sometimes I do think it's worth it. Anyways, moving on, we have got the sideboard. Now, I think I keep saying that, you know, pieces are my favorite or this was my best find, but I truly think this is tippy top of the list. So this sideboard or console, whatever you want to call it, was purchased, I think, roughly maybe a year and a half ago. And guys, when I tell you that I have dreamed of this piece, it is nothing but the truth. These pieces I see all over social media, and I always admire them so much. I think that they are just so beautiful. I'll try and maybe put some inspiration photos. But the character of it was incredible. This piece I found actually on Marketplace, and huge tip for you guys, when you see an ad for furniture, this is what actually happened in this situation. The gentleman had posted photos of multiple pieces he was selling, and there was like a table or something as the first photo, and then you had to keep swiping, and this piece was listed as like the third or fourth photo or something. So it was not posted as the front photo that you see. And so had I not clicked on that post or whatever, I never would have seen the piece of furniture, and it definitely would have sold very quickly probably, and you know, out the window, that dream would have gone. So here's a tip to, when you see a photo of furniture, if there's multiple, you know, photos, take a peek. It's worth it, because sometimes hidden within that stack of whatever that person is selling is your dream piece. So that's what happened there. And I think I paid around, I have here around $400. I've tried to do a ballpark of all these numbers, guys. I didn't necessarily keep track of them to the very dollar, but that's roughly what I think the price points are for these items. So a huge deal. I mean, the piece is massive. It spans the whole length of my wall. And if I had to buy that at an antique store or get it shipped here, I mean, we're talking thousands of dollars, at least where I live. So to find that under $1,000 was amazing. Again, it's solid wood. I didn't have to do anything to it. I put it right into my house, gave it a good wipe. The storage is incredible. We put board games in there. I have extra home decor, candles, you name it. It all fits within those big, deep drawers. And then it's such a fun styling moment. I'm able to change up that kind of vignette all the time. I've got some lamps on there, and the decor is constantly changing, and it's just beautiful. It's got so much age, patina, once in a lifetime find in my opinion. It came out of actually a local restaurant where I live, which is kind of a neat story. I do believe the piece had some legs before that maybe were chopped off. I don't know. I've kind of pondered the idea of putting it back on legs. However, I do think it would be kind of hard to match some legs to what currently is the wood tone and grain there. So we will see in the future if that's something I want to explore. But for now, huge win. When searching, I think the best you know, titles to search would probably be pine, sideboard, antique, primitive console, multiple drawer, you know, console or sideboard. I think this one is made out of elm wood, so even searching that particular wood might be helpful. But yeah, definitely a score. Moving on, I've got my pine secretary. This one has actually been purchased over the past like 2 weeks. I was looking for a piece for my spare bedroom. I have a tiny spare bedroom that does not have much room, but it has been the perfect piece to kind of put against the wall because it's not too deep. And it is a beautiful pine color. I might sand it down a little bit to kind of take out a little bit of that orange tone. But for now, I'm just kind of sitting with it. I like to always try pieces within my home first before I go ahead and change the stain or change anything about it. I think it's always nice to live with something for a little bit and see how it suits the space. So that's what I'm doing. It's got beautiful shelves up top for some display, and then it's got storage in the bottom, and that cool little flop down piece, I don't know the name for it, but that exposes the desk portion, and you can store all your fun little goodies within there. So I paid $100 for that piece, which is crazy as well in my opinion, because I think something as tall as it is and antique as it is, again, I would never find it for that price point within an antique store where I live. So it was a score, and you can't beat the character. Again, it's not something that I would find in a Home Sense or I would find, you know, anywhere else retail wise. It's one of a kind. It is unique to me, unique to my space, and I love that. So pine secretary is something you can search. Antique secretary desk, antique hutch, all good words to try and find that piece. My next one are my black cast iron metal chairs. So these chairs are fabulous. Again, I say this about so many pieces that I've purchased from Marketplace, but I truly mean that there are good things out there, guys. You just have to be scrolling a lot and have a lot of patience. So these chairs I bought for, I think they were $50 each, somewhere in that ballpark. I'm not quite sure. They are solid cast iron, which I love. I love materials that are going to last, as I've said before, and that aren't, you know, a plastic or a resin or those sorts of things. So I love that it was cast iron, and the weaving detail in the back and those two kind of nubby balls on the sides as well as the bottom were dreamy. They are giving very much that French European look, which I love. I just add a cushion to the seat of it, a nice white one or whatever I've got on hand, and I love them. They add so much character, so much personality. They are, again, one of a kind in my opinion. I know there's a lot of places that do reproductions of these chairs, but they're just not the same in my opinion. That cast iron just feels different. I don't know. So I love that it's a true antique piece or vintage piece. And they've held up great. If I need to put a rust resistant spray on them for outside, I will probably go ahead and do that in the next few weeks here just to make them last even more. So those chairs, I suggest maybe looking up cast iron patio chairs or vintage cast iron chairs. You can also kind of put in the title that woven back detail. There's probably a better name for that than what I'm kind of suggesting, but I think cast iron being the material is something that can help you try and find those. Next is the marble bistro table. So I actually bought this with the idea of putting the chairs and the table together. I have seen these tables on Marketplace before. They don't come up all that often, and if they do come up, I find that the marble is severely stained or it's just not in good shape, huge chips in it. So this one I found, and it was just in great quality overall. It had no staining, no chips. The base was solid cast iron, which I've said before, I love. It's durable, it's gonna hold up, it's not gonna blow away in the wind, it's solid. So for outside, I have it on my deck currently, and I've got it with those chairs. And again, it just gives that French bistro feeling. I'm like, why not live and have some little moments of joy of trying to, you know, elevate the everyday living? And so having that little table there, it just makes me feel like I'm at a little cafe or something, and why not have that feeling within your own backyard? So I was super excited to find that. In the winter months, I will probably bring it in and put it within my whiskey room downstairs. But that I paid a total of $150 for, so it was not too bad. I don't think I could have found it for probably much cheaper at another store or anything like that. Some keywords to look up would probably be marble bistro table, or marble and cast iron bistro table, antique French bistro table, anything like that. I know that HomeSense sometimes carries these tables, but I personally have not seen them. I just have watched other YouTubers who have mentioned they have been there, so maybe a good source to try and find them as well there. The next one are my bed frames. So I have two of these bed frames. They are matching, which I don't know how I totally feel about that. I kind of like the idea of, you know, mismatching things, but at the same time, I love the simplicity of these bed frames and they go with everything. So I'm also quite happy with it. So these are a upholstered bed frame that was from Marketplace, of course. They were in perfect condition overall, no significant stains, tears, or anything, and I love that linen look. I think it is so beautiful. It's got that perfect oatmeal, warm kind of color. And I just, yeah, it was the perfect kind of size. I like a headboard that's a little bit higher up. It allows you to put some bigger substantial pillows on the bed without kind of hiding the whole headboard. So I took a Bissell to these guys, washed them up real good, and then obviously making sure that these kind of items come from a smoke-free home. All of those things are super important as well to kind of look up, in my opinion. But yeah, I have one actually right here, and I will be sure to include another image of it within the video. And this is a queen. I have a king one as well. This one I think was under $200. I think the king one was actually cheaper. That's just sometimes how Marketplace works. You find things for completely different price points. But yeah, I think that it is a beautiful addition to any room. So definitely look up headboards. I think that there's a lot of very clean people out there that take very good care of their things. And so I think it's possible to find these pieces in really great quality that you can wash up and stuff. So definitely worth a look. Again, upholstered headboard or just headboard in general would give you a huge selection likely. And yeah, so I definitely think that finding that on Marketplace is helpful because headboards nowadays are quite expensive, and it's nice to be able to find something that has that linen look but at an affordable price. The last item I'm going to go through are my my dining chairs. So these dining chairs are a wooden and woven seat kind of chair. There was 4 of them when I bought them, and I think they were $75 for all 4, which was amazing. And yeah, they just caught my eye. I loved the simplicity of the chairs. They have this really kind of straight profile, and then the woven seat I loved for a little bit of texture. I think it's so important to add texture within your space when you're decorating, and so it just felt very cozy and just inviting. And so I could put a chair pad on them to kind of give them a bit more cushion, which I have thought about. I just kind of haven't come across the right chair pad or whatever. So I will keep my eye out for those. But they kind of tuck into our dining table perfectly. And I love the contrast of the dark wood. We have some very dark beams above that space. And so it was nice to be able to tie in those 2 colors. So yeah, definitely keep your eye out for chairs. You know, looking up dining chairs, woven, wicker chair, or antique, mid-century modern, whatever the style is helpful. And yeah, it's a great place to find a set because again, chairs can be pricey, especially when you're newly furnishing your home. So why not try and have some fun with, you know, something different? Again, you're not going to come across those items you know, at HomeSense necessarily or other retail shops. I think that when you source items like chairs from Marketplace, you're almost guaranteed to get some that are very unique, and not everyone will have the same style. So I think that that is very nice and adds a perfect touch to any home. So that is kind of the video for today, guys. I've ran through all those pieces. I hope that this inspires you to try and use Marketplace or Kijiji or whatever that source is for you to shop secondhand again. But yeah, I think that it's definitely worth a look. Again, I will say it's a patience game. These pieces or by no means have been collected all at once. They are, yeah, curated over a very long time. So I hope that you found this video interesting, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one.